Alright, so here we have the Super Saiyan Figuarts Dragon Ball Kai Goku out of packaging. Right off the bat, I'm going to say this guy's amazing. There's no question about it. I don't know if you guys have seen any subscribers who subscribe to Boog Nice 10 or Jedi Nightmare. If you guys watch their videos, you've seen them talk a little bit about this guy. I mean, what really can be said negatively about this figure? I think probably this is one of the only figures I would give an absolute perfect score to. It's not often that you get a figure like this where, you know, it really is perfect in almost every single way you look at it. I think the only thing I would change about it maybe is that it's a little short compared to Marvel Legends or, you know, DC Universe Classics. Just on hand I have a DC Universe Classics Owlman here, so you can see he's a little bit out of scale when I put them. Let's put them back to back here. You can kind of see that the neck on Goku is it's a smaller figure. It's you know, like 5 inches, so just a personal preference. If it was a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, it would fit in scale better with some of the other, you know, 6-inch figures. These figures are not true 6-inch. With the hair, they do look, you know, taller, but they're not really 6-inch figures. That being said, they're about 5 inches, maybe, you know, somewhere around that range. They don't really fit in scale with, you know, many other things. But regardless, I still have to say, I mean, you know, that's just a personal preference. I can't really actually deduct, you know, any kind of points away from the figure just because it doesn't fit in scale with my preferred scale, which is 6-inch. It's pretty amazing that, you know, usually when you go smaller with figures, you sacrifice detail. You know, for example, 3 3/4-inch figures, Marvel Universe, are not as detailed as 6-inch figures in most cases, most of the time. It's just harder to get that much detail on the smaller figures. But as you can see with this guy, there's no lacking of detail on this guy at all. I mean, he's absolutely crazy. You know, just everything. You know, everything is so well detailed. The paint scheme, the flesh tone, the colors on the clothes, everything looks absolutely perfect. Now they have re-released this guy in an exclusive form, which I believe is the easier one to get now on eBay or wherever, you know, you're going to purchase it from. The only thing about that one is it's got kind of like purple bands here, and the coloring on it is different. It's got like a darker hair color. It's like kind of more like an orangish tint. And people say that they think that some people like it better. Me personally, I don't, because I think of it as like this. When Goku goes Super Saiyan, his orange clothes are going to glow a little bit lighter to be this kind of color, just because of the fact that he's got that, you know, the yellow glow to him. It's going to change the way his clothes look. So that's just the fact of the matter. I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, the other orange suit on a Super Saiyan Goku, to me, just doesn't really make sense. If it was a black-haired Goku, then I could see it having that orangish suit. But to me, this is the best one to get. I think this one is going to end up being rarer. And what this guy goes for, I think, is about on eBay probably about, I want to say, $70 or $80, somewhere around that range. So it's, you know, it's definitely not a cheap figure. When it first came out, it was about $50, and you can probably get the orange suited version for about $50 still, which personally for this kind of figure is a steal because, like I said, this is a perfect figure, absolutely perfect. I can't take anything away from it. The articulation is crazy. I mean, this guy's got articulation that we have never seen before on a figure. I have never seen, and probably most of you haven't either, articulated clothing ever. Take a look at that right there. You can articulate his gi. This is called well, I guess for him in karate this is called a gi. I don't know exactly what you want to call this for a Dragon Ball Z character. I guess you'd call it a gi because that's, you know, that's kind of what it is. The shoulder joints here. So when you move the arms, usually figures that have shoulder, any kind of clothing on the shoulders, it's going to hinder the articulation. But on this guy, it doesn't because he's got a joint on the clothing, which is just crazy. You can see it there. You see that? I'm not moving the arm. It's the actual clothes. And then the arm inside has its own joint too. And then you can kind of place this to make it look correct no matter where you put it. You see that? So if you move his arm up, you can put it in that kind of pose. It has that, you know, that posability that we just usually don't see that kind of stuff. Usually the manufacturers will either cut it off there, or, for example, you'll see some Iron Mans that will have, you know, the armor where it can kind of lift up, but not to this degree. This is pretty cool. He does have interchangeable parts, so like that you saw right there, this could, you know, these could fall out and that kind of stuff. You just basically snap on the hands. So that's, you know, pretty cool. He also has another joint here, which is kind of weird. It's you lift this up, and then you can turn his waist. And you might not even know it's there until you start to play around with them a bit, and then you can see it, and then you can go back down with it. which is very cool. Going on from there, at the legs, good joints here, give plenty of movement. A double jointed knee, so you could throw like high kicks with them, that kind of stuff. That's very cool. You've got a joint here at the ankle, which has got good range of motion, as you can see. And there's also a toe joint in the middle there, right there. And also a pivot too, so it's a slight pivot. It's not that far, but it's pretty good. So you could throw all kinds of different movements with them and different things. I'll grab a flight stand and we'll take a look at some pictures of some different displays with them. Man, we'll take a quick look. And yeah, so he does come with a lot of different cool stuff. He comes with 2 different face plates. There's that one and the normal faced one. He's got clenched hands like you see on the left side here, and then of course a couple closed fist hands. Just to show you some of the other stuff he's got, it comes with instant transmission hands. He's got the normal face there, which is kind of in the backwards position. He's got 2 open energy blast hands, and then he comes with 2 of the clenched fist hands for other types of energy blasts and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's very cool. By the way, the Frieza that you saw in those pictures earlier, that was not actually from Figuarts. Unfortunately, the Frieza has not been released yet, but it looks like probably Cell and Frieza may be our last, the last 2 guys we get from the series, probably later on this year or next year. At least those are the only 2 that are confirmed, and then after that we'll see if the series goes on. There is also a Super Saiyan 3 Goku coming out, as well as a Trunks, which has both the Super Saiyan and regular hair, so that will be very cool as well. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this review. This guy gets a rare. I usually don't give 10 out of 10s, but he definitely gets a 10 out of 10. Absolutely amazing figure. What more can be said about it? It's pretty much perfect in every regard. Just a very, very cool figure. If you don't have one, you should probably get one. Later, guys.